happy to talk to all of you today. Today is a very, very important day. Now, this Dharma is in its 34th year. And its objective has always been to enlighten mankind. And we sometimes say to end human suffering. And we also say to set man totally and unconditionally free. We use different kinds of phrases. The simplest thing is to give enlightenment to people. So we had a deadline in 2012, and we worked for that, and we failed. Of course, some people did become enlightened who continue to live until now enlightened. But we could not reach those numbers. They were 64,000 at that time, but we could get nowhere near that. Because our process is just not enlightenment for a small number of people. No, that's not our goal. That's not our vision. So the whole of humanity, nothing less than that. So the whole of humanity. So we failed. Then, of course, the work is based on some revelations. I would not go into that. And then the date was around 2024. We have to get, now the number was 81,000, not 64. Now it became 81,000. Because it depends upon the human population. For every 100,000, we need one person. Now, the way things are going, it looks like the Muhurta for this is January 15th. If by January 15th, we have 81,000 people, 81,000 who have made it. Made it means they must be able to move into Ananda at will and be able to transfer Ananda to anybody on the planet at will. Besides, also pray to people to have their problems solved. That he is a warrior of this 81,000. We call this 81,000 army. We also call it the Paranjyoti Kalki army. In Western countries, it's mostly called Paranjyoti Kalki army. Now, that is the qualification to be a member of the army, not merely registering for that. Now, if we had that many people, let us say on January the 15th, by 16th, mankind could be in a different state. The whole of humanity could be in a different state. It would have just jumped into a different state. And that would be the end of human suffering. But despite whatever we could do, we seem to be nowhere near that. Our numbers globally today is 35,000. We need 81,000, we are at 35,000. If next year the population grows, we need more. So currently it's only 81,000. And the numbers that we have, the registered number of people is 35,000, of whom only 10,000 attend the program. This M&M class is the main area where we work on them to become that. Though we have a lot of support systems like the Havans, the Nevam process, and many things are there. But the main area where we are working is the M&M class. It's called differently abroad. Here in India, we call it the M&M class. Because the concept of moksha is not known to them. So the actual attendance is only 25,000. The registered numbers are 35 globally, and globally those who attend are only 25,000. In that 25,000, 5,000 have made it. That is where we stand today. But we seem to be growing faster now, but even then we may not have 81,000 and we may not have 81,000 people who have made it. So that is most likely it would happen. So we just can't give up like that. 34 years of work has gone into that, and before that, 850 years have gone into it. So much has gone into all this. And Ramalinga has worked very, very hard for this. Many others are also involved. So we can't just let it go like that. The other is Plan C, which we should have started after January the 15th. But we thought we will not wait until then. We'll initiate that before that date itself. So that on that date, there could be a jump. in the state. Not the state of humanity, but the state of the warriors. You people are the warriors. So a month ago itself, we started, in fact, more than a month, about 2 months ago, we started this process. What is the process? To give you the state of Ananda, and through prayer, we switched over from Diksha to prayer. The moment we switched over from Diksha to prayer, it became immensely powerful. Now the whole world, they are moved into prayer now. It's very, very powerful. So once we moved over to prayer and we could give Diksha to the people, we could give Ananda to the people, we found that we are able to transfer the state. And not only that, it was becoming more and more powerful by the day. Every day it was becoming more and more powerful. Nemam was the main place from which we were delivering people to the world. And Nemam, the power grows every day. For example, yesterday the power was one thing, and today the power was different. Today's power was more than yesterday's power. It keeps growing and growing and growing, this power. Now, what we would be doing is, now in this M&M class, every month we meet, we'll increase the power. I'm using the secular words like power. The actual word should be grace. But most people are comfortable with secular terms. They like to avoid spiritual terms. So I'm going by that. So the power would be increased for you in transferring the state. That you must understand, you do not transfer. The transfer is done through Diksha, which is given by Paranjyoti. Here, to be very specific, it will be Paranjyoti Kalki. Now, when we do Vishwaguru programs, we say Paranjyoti Shiva, we say Paranjyoti Krishna, we say Paranjyoti Karka Durgamma, we say Paranjyoti Andal, we say Paranjyoti. So many gods are there. There are so many gods of which we do not even know. For example, in Nemam, somebody came to us and we asked them, you get connected to your God and then tell us. And the person said, our God's name is Madurai Veeran. Now, later on, we came to people know that, but we did not know. We never heard of a God called Madurai Veeran. So, of course, we said, now you add the prefix Paranjyoti Madurai Veeran and call now and see how things happen. And then things began to happen. So we go on adding the prefix Paranjyoti and then the name of the God. Now, though Paranjyoti is added to everything, Paranjyoti, once you add that name, it would function accordingly. Like if you have an actor, he could act on multiple roles. You tell them you must act in this role, he would act in that role, the actor or the actress or whatever you want to call it. Similarly, Paranjyoti must be told, you must be like this. Accordingly, Paranjyoti would function. Paranjyoti Vinayaka will function like that. So Paranjyoti, let us say, Kanaka Durgamma, it will function like that. So here, it has to be Paranjyoti Kalki, because Kalki's purpose is to give mukti to mankind. It is to remove them from all suffering and to move them into very high states, much beyond enlightenment. So all that Kalki will do. Now, if you bring in Paranjyoti Rama, it won't work like that. It will work for a different purpose. Paranjyoti Krishna, it will work for a different purpose. So that is why here, you should be able to connect with Paranjyoti Kalki through all these years. You could have built up a bond. That bond is key, very important. How will the bond come? You must read the miracles that are constantly being posted. As you go on reading those miracles, a bond would develop. That bond is important. And once the bond is depending on the bond, you have to pray. Suppose you have to pray to your father, it will be one thing, to your mother, it could be different, to your uncle, it could be different. So it depends on what kind of a bond you have and how important that bond is for you. Within that framework, you have to ask. Prayer is nothing but asking. First you would move into that state of Ananda yourself. We have received several fruits the last few years. One has been Soma, a very powerful tool. So you can drink the Soma and you'll get the Ananda. Or after some time, no need for the Soma also. Just you think of Paranjyoti Kalki, and immediately Ananda would come. Or think of the last time you had Ananda, it would come. And once it comes, then you have to pray. The prayer means asking that this state of Ananda must be transferred to so and so. Now here you must be clear. You can give to one person directly, sitting in front of the person, you could give. You can give to 100 people, you could give. Now, you could do a program, let us say online, where on the other side there are 1,000 people gathered, you could do. So, need not be physically there, online you could do. Suppose, now you're not able to do on the phone, nothing, no problem. Without seeing them, you can do. Anybody, anywhere on the planet. Now, when you do that, you have to have a mental image of that person. That is the address to which the transfer must be done. That person's image you would hold, and you would say, Paranjyoti Kalki, or simply Kalki, please transfer this Ananda to that person. Holding that image. Suppose the image also you're not able to hold, you've forgotten the image of the person, or you're incapable of visualizing the image, then feel for the person. Feel for the person and say, Kalki or Paranjyoti, please transfer this Ananda to that person. It would go. You could be in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, or Delhi. You could go. It could go to somebody in Moscow or Beijing, or even the North Pole or South, anywhere. Space does not matter. Anywhere you could be, anywhere the other person could be. Time does not matter. Could be daytime, morning, night, evening, any time you could. Space and time do not matter. And any number does not matter. But if you're one person giving, then you could give to a maximum of 100,000 people. After the number exceeds 100,000, the power would slowly start declining. So in which case, there must be 2 or 3 people joined. But there are 3 lakh people, 3 people together could do it. So that is how you can go on transferring. And they could be Buddhists, Hindus, Christians, Muslims, atheists, communists. They could be in jail. They could be crooks, bandits, rogues, cheats, horrible people. No problem. A very horrible murderer crook, a terrorist, can bomb him with Ananda and he will have the effect. No judgment at all. Whoever the other person is, whatever the other person is. But how much he would receive, that of course would depend on him, on his karmas and other factors. And upon the one who's praying, it depends also on you. If you have a good bond, it's very powerful. If you have a weak bond, it will not be so powerful. So both factors are involved. But as you go on doing this, immediately your state also would go on increasing. So once you pray for this transfer, if the transfer has been done, what is the proof? Your own Ananda would go up. It will show a jug. It will become more. That is the proof it has been transferred. Now, as you go on doing this to more and more people, day after day or month after month, your own power transfer will be growing and growing and growing. Your own Ananda will be growing and growing and growing. So it is something which keeps growing. And of course, as it keeps growing, more and more things will open up, about which I am not talking now. Except one thing I'll tell you, soon this Ananda would also be transferring causeless love, simply love for no reason. You all know love, but that is a bogus kind of love. So a love where the self is involved and where some agenda is there. So not this kind of love is not at all love. So we do not talk about that. Or a boy falling in love with a girl, not that kind of love. So this is simply a causeless love which has to be experienced. Now this Ananda will slowly start delivering that also. Some people may get some siddhis also in due course. Some people, for example, yesterday